Hey there humans, Bob here with another Marvel Avengers video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you all the information that I gathered from all of my tests and the conversations that I had with Alex Kende, who is one of the designers at Crystal Dynamics. Don't forget to like and subscribe as we roll that intro. So let's go over exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Number one, when did this happen? When were these changes made and why wasn't this widely shared? Number two, what has changed? What changes have occurred to buff Hulkbuster and how can you take advantage of them? Number three, how does Hulkbuster work? There's still so much mystery about how the big fella works, but in today's video, I'll be sharing exactly how Hulkbuster scales with information directly from the devs. And finally, number four, why is this important? Why should you even care about this update and what I think it means for the game? So, let's get to it. Number one, when did this happen? On the 26th of May 2022, the 2.4 patch arrived for the game and brought with it changes to the priority missions, unit rewards, and new paths of power to reach the max level of 175. But as well as this, Iron Man's ultimate heroic, the Hulkbuster, also saw some significant changes. Despite these changes being quite detailed, we haven't, well at least at the point of recording this video, seen any patch notes, which is very strange considering the obvious amount of work and testing the team has done. It's a real shame that this wasn't teased in the lead up to 2.4, as I'm sure this would have created some much needed hype for the hardcore players waiting on anything new to tide them over until new heroes, villains, and levels arrive in the game. Either way, it's more than we were told was going to be in this patch, and I, for one, am extremely happy with receiving updates to existing heroes, especially when they're on my main character. Moving on to number two now, what has changed? Before we dive into this section, I wanted to explain how I'm going to show you all of this info. As there is a considerable amount of changes that have happened to Hulkbuster, I'm going to try and save you all some time by putting them into a kind of rapid fire presentation where I'll share some clips from my testing and explain my findings from them too. If you have any questions about anything in this video though that you need more detail on, don't forget to comment below or come and check me out when I stream over here on YouTube. So, here's what's changed. Status effects on signature attacks from melee gear now apply when using Hulkbuster. If you have dual status effects on melee gear, using Hulkbuster's signature attack will apply status buildup and deal status damage for both statuses. You can find this gear piece from threat sectors or from the helicarrier vendor. Faultless payloads, which are payloads on melee critical attacks, should work, but currently do not. This is a known issue. Status effects on weapons from ranged gear now apply when using Hulkbuster. Use raid gear that applies status to all ranged attacks to apply when using all weapons. Otherwise, it will only apply using the weapon that is mentioned on the gear. Pinpoint payloads, which are the payloads on ranged critical attacks, work when using ranged attacks. When using pinpoint payloads, ensure you have rockets equipped as Iron Man before entering Hulkbuster, as this appears to improve proc rate of the payloads. This has not been confirmed by the developers. Sometimes pinpoint payloads will also proc when using the melee signature attack. This is unconfirmed whether this is intentional or not. When trying to proc pinpoint payloads in Hulkbuster, line up multiple enemies and use the aimed laser attack, as it will increase the proc rate significantly. Reactive payloads will work in Hulkbuster and can be used to mitigate the damage taken from enemies, which reduces your available time in Hulkbuster. Tachyon Rift damage does not damage or affect Hulkbuster at all, and will not activate any reactive perks whatsoever, which includes buffs, empowerment, cosmic surge, and payloads. Regular buff perks like damage buff, intrinsic burst, heroic burst, and more do not translate to Hulkbuster, as it is treated as its own entity. As mentioned before though, payloads are the exception. Unibeam Explosion does work when you have the Unibeam specialty selected in Iron Man's skill tree. Intrinsic orbs, heroic orbs, and regen packs, even those generated by takedowns whilst inside Hulkbuster, do not apply to Hulkbuster itself, but will still apply to Iron Man if picked up. Sonic Conduit is confirmed to apply to Hulkbuster. If you can use your own gear to apply Sonic status buildup to your enemies and also to send and receive Sonic Conduit from it, you can stay in Hulkbuster for much longer than usual. This cannot be procced from the Lethal Vibranium Conduit perk, only the base Sonic Conduit perk. An additional item to note is that if you intend to use a melee-focused Hulkbuster, most of his melee attacks will halt the decay of the intrinsic meter. This can prove useful when trying to extend the time spent in Hulkbuster itself. So far, that's everything I've been able to test myself and confirm with the developers. If there's anything I've missed in this video, feel free to drop it in the comments below, and I'll add it to the description so those who are curious enough can see it all. But now, it's time to talk about how the Hulkbuster actually works. It's been a point of debate in the community, especially among those who enjoy the science of the game, how Hulkbuster actually works. Since we've been told that Hulkbuster is its own entity, players have been wondering, what stats does it scale from, if any? And I finally have some answers. Well, I know how it should work. After chatting with Alex Kende extensively on the topic, I was made aware that Hulkbuster should scale as follows. Number 1, all melee attacks, including light attacks, heavy attacks, and signature attacks, scale from might. Number 2, all ranged attacks, including repulsors and lasers, scale from precision. Number 3, the Hulkbuster specific Unibeam and Magno missiles scale from valor. Number 4, finally, crit rates as well as proc rates on perks that apply to Hulkbuster, in this case mainly payloads, scale from proficiency. Again, just to reiterate, this is how Hulkbuster should scale. If you find it to be different, be sure to mention it in the comments below. Now onto probably the most important part of the video, and that's why I think that even if you don't play Iron Man, well, you should actually care about these changes. As was with the 2.3 patch and the update to Kate's signature attacks to apply status, 2.4 has given us updates to Hulkbuster. Both of these patches have given us what might seem like small changes on the surface, but have actually fundamentally changed the way that you can play these characters and added a completely new layer to build diversity. These changes are a result of a shift in focus within the team at Crystal Dynamics, to make characters not just different in terms of their base abilities, but to allow you to create more dynamic and unique builds with gear. Gear that gives you a reason to run missions and grind for rewards that finally feel rewarding. We're moving away from the perks that are overpowered like Damage Buff and Tachyon Surge that are simplistic and quite frankly boring, to more hero focused and unique perks that give you a legitimate reason to play and learn new heroes, and to give even the most hardcore players something new to grind for and enjoy. Also, if you're looking for the best way to build your Iron Man, or you want to get raid ready so you can get some of the gear shown in this video, check out these videos on the channel, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.